Welcome back to Passing Time with Craig. As always, I'm your host, Craig. Today I'm passing time with Brad. Hello, Brad.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah.
We got lots to chat about. Let's dive right into it. Music. You're here. We're going to be teasing. You've got Midnight Milkshake?
Yeah.
Yes. Coming out in November.
In November 8th, yeah.
November 8th.
Yeah.
So, first, before we really get into that, what got you into music?
Honestly, I've kind of been into it for like my whole life, but I actually didn't know it was a thing I could do because I was kind of just playing around with sounds. Like that's all my music really is I just kind of like take samples and I play around with them and then I record over top of it and see whatever happens kind of thing. But then I kind of figured out how you could distribute that onto like streaming platforms and then figured out how to get into the music business just locally here in Calgary. And I was really excited. And then I just got all this research and this knowledge and I was like, well, let's do something with it. Let's try to figure it out. See what we can do. So
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. So yeah, I'm not really like, I'm not like a great musician, to be honest, because I don't really know a lot about like theory or like how to play an instrument, but mostly just like I have a good ear, which everyone's told me. I just never took the time to actually take like classes or anything in it.
Right.
And even when I was younger, like I just had so many other things going on that I wasn't interested in it. So as I got older, it also gets harder to learn like an instrument and stuff. So just kind of doing what I can with what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. So how would you describe your sound?
It's kind of like I'm trying to do pop stuff.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the new album is a little bit more on the mainstream pop side, whereas I think my first album was kind of a bit experimental because I was doing a lot with like a lot of different things. But I think this new one, I still experimented a lot with stuff, but it was more so I kind of had a distinct sound I wanted, and I kind of was just eager to find out how I could get that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I did.
Well, and I think that's a good way to do it too. Because I feel like sometimes it's harder for artists when they release their first thing and then maybe like the second stuff and it's a very set sound. And I love when artists can do different genres. Like look at friggin' Beyonce. Like I love that she's going country right now. But it was a big deal for people. And I think part of it is when people, like as Taylor Swift was very country at the beginning and then she moved to pop. And so I think sometimes people are like, the audience and listeners are like, no, you're supposed to stay in this lane. So it's nice when you can kind of like, I'm not going to necessarily tell you, like, I'm going to kind of waver on a couple lines here.
Yeah.
And let you figure out what I am. And I'm figuring it out as we go.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too, because I'm still pretty new. Like I've only been doing it for like since 2022. I've been releasing music and gaining popularity a little bit. But I'm still relatively new to it, so like I don't really know what my sound is exactly. I'm not really sure what people are going to catch on to. There's stuff that I'm like, clearly they want catchy, because a lot of the songs that I've seen that have kind of been popular from me were the ones that I was like, that took 30 minutes to write, but it's super catchy.
Yeah.
And like that's what people seem to like a lot, and they just want easy to listen to. And I'm like, if I can be that, that's great. But I also try to like showcase some of myself in it too, like what I'm feeling or what I want to say. Sometimes it sounds like I'm just saying generic stuff, but there's a lot of like, I say a lot of things very like abstract all the time because I'm like, that actually means two different things, but I'll let you think it's the one.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think that's always cool with songs, movies, TV shows, when it's like, there's this level, and then there's people can't see me doing hands on this, but yeah, there's one level, and then there's something beneath the surface, and not everyone's gonna get it because it may not relate to them, or they may not be dealing with that or ever felt that way. But those who have will go, oh my God, this means a lot. So
yeah, and that's kind of what I try to do, because there's a lot of stuff I want to say, and there's a lot of people I want to reach. So I'm just like, whoever wants it, it's for you.
So who are some of your musical inspirations? Loaded question, I know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty obvious of one. I really love Tate McRae.
Yeah.
She's my favorite. And I saw her at the Stampede this year, and it was like the best experience of my life.
Yeah.
'Cause she's just incredible. And she's from Calgary. So
It's super awesome to see a real Calgary performer making it on such a big stage right now.
right. And she's so sweet. Like, she's just an incredible performer. She's so talented. Her music is everything to me because it speaks to so many different aspects of life and human experience that I'm just like, man, she knows what I want. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So I really feel like she's the biggest one for me. And even though like she's younger than me, which is weird, but it's like I look up to her, I guess. But I also am still kind of like, I'm quite immature for my age. So I feel that a lot of people that I look up to are a lot younger than me because I don't think I developed as quickly as everyone else did due to a lot of things that I've gone through. So like, I think that's part of it, that a lot of artists I really enjoy are usually like a lot younger than me, because I also really like Billie Eilish too.
Yeah.
I think she's incredible.
Well, she's just crushing the game. Like, she's what? How many Oscars now? Like,
She's won 2, and then she's got like 7 Grammys.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's what I want to do. And the thing I like about her too is she also does like a lot of. She kind of also gave me inspiration to start because she did it all in her basement, and I do it all in my basement. So, and then and also her and Phineas had no education whatsoever in music, and I'm like, hey, that proves right there that you don't gotta be the best to really make an impact. You can just try things. I think that's important too, is if you don't try anything, you're never gonna know.
no, exactly. You got to try things. You never know what the market's missing. But when it comes to entertainers, I think specifically, there are people, I always use this analogy when it comes to like, let's say like acting. There are people who have gone to school and studied their entire lives since they were a kid, and they're freaking Meryl Streeps. Then there's people who have no classical training, just always kind of enjoyed acting, and they're freaking Meryl Streeps. And then there's others who like have done the exact same thing and are just crappy actors, and just whether it's they've spent 20 years, $30,000 trying to be an actor and learning, and others who just like, well, I've got a rich father and I get to do stuff. Like, it's a skill. It's a talent. You can definitely take courses and classes and have instructors to help harness it or narrow it down. But if you don't have that base talent, then it's not going to come.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like I find there's a lot of people, even like my friends that I know, who have that talent, but they don't want to do anything with it because they're like, oh, it's not going to be good. And I'm like, what's your definition of good?
Yeah.
Because like, I like it. I mean, whether that's important to them or not. Like, I like what you're doing. And also, like, there's a lot of people who wish they could do what you do, and they just don't know how.
Yeah.
So, like, if you can do it, it might inspire them to want to do it too, you know? And that's kind of why I did it, because I was like, I somewhat have resources. Not really. Like, I got my laptop, my Amazon microphone, and a couple AI mixing tools. And that's basically all I got. But honestly, you'd never know. If you're not like a musical ear person, you're not going to notice the difference, which I think is really cool, especially with all the tools they have nowadays. But
that's just it. We're living in such a great world right now where we can do stuff. Creative people can find the resources. And maybe you have to spend a little bit more. Sometimes you can just start off with kind of and there's some great, very affordable programs out there that you're like, holy crap, this is all I need. Now, if you want to have a 70-piece orchestra backing you, that's a different situation.
Yeah, but that's a different type of, I think that's a different type of music altogether. That one, I guess, requires the skill and the knowledge too. But for most people, I think it's like they want to write a song. They just kind of need to, you know, like if you have a MacBook, just go on GarageBand and open it up and just play with the like sample loops. That's all I do. And it kind of works. Like it doesn't, like you get a song out there, you just kind of like, you make a beat, you say what you want to say, and then you figure it out from there. Like that's really all I do. And I know it's not like the best quality. Like I could go into a studio, but it's so expensive. But I'm also like, I'm using the tools I have, right?
Yeah.
So And especially because I'm still a student and I'm still like, you know, an artist working in Calgary, which is really tough. But yeah, and the thing that I'm hoping is that if it does take off, then it's like someone will notice me and then they'll bring me to the next level, which I think is the point in anything, is that if you start at some point, then eventually someone takes you to the next part, which is kind of what ideally you should be doing. But it's like, it's just start it, because if you don't start it, then there's no point in even having that goal, because you can't do anything if you don't do it.
Yep. I very much agree with that. All right, so Midnight Milkshake. How did you come up with that title?
I
mean, we all want a milkshake at midnight.
Real. I think that was. I think it was kind of the idea of like, you know, you're in your feelings. It's dark outside. Maybe unless it's summer, probably not. But like, it's dark outside and it's midnight and you're eating ice cream. But I don't really like eating ice cream all the time. I like milkshakes more. So I was like, well, it's Midnight Milkshake, and that's kind of what the whole thing is about. It's just like me thinking about things in the middle of the night, being like, what about this? Or it's just kind of like, maybe you're at like a party and now you're drunk and hungover and you want to get ice cream.
Yeah.
And that's also a valid excuse too.
Yeah, always an excuse. Yeah. What's your favorite flavor of milkshake?
Oh man. To be honest, I like cherry.
Oh, see, I was gonna say my favorite, because I feel like most people are going chocolate, strawberry, vanilla.
Yeah.
Mine's blueberry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I really like the obscure fruit flavors.
Yeah.
I think those are really fun. Or mint.
I haven't had a mint, but I know a lot of people do love their mint.
Like the Shamrock Shake from McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I fucked it up.
Yeah. Okay, so we are a couple months out from this release. You've announced it to the world.
Yeah.
What is this period like for you right now, where you've basically have committed to it? You've told people November 8th. What is this feeling like for you right now? As you're here promoting it, like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the first piece of work I think that I've finished in a while that I can actively promote to people, and it's like a product, because like I also, you know, like I work in theater and I work in film, but a lot of that stuff is very hypothetical because I'm more of a screenwriter, and a lot of that stuff I have to go and pitch to studios, or I have to go and like make it myself. But it's a lot harder to do that by yourself than it is to do a song by yourself.
Yeah.
So I think the point of this release is just, it's like my first kind of like my first album could have been, but I didn't believe in it as much, to be honest. I didn't actually like it that much. I was just kind of wanting to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'll try something. And then it kind of worked out for me. So I was like, okay, well, what if we elevated that and actually tried this time? And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And this is like my first like thing I can do that's like, this is a product of me. And now the world can see kind of what I got.
Yeah.
And what I'm capable of doing. And, you know, I don't just want to do music though. Like music was actually never really in the cards for me. It just became a thing once it started to become a thing, you know? And, like ideally I want to still actively pursue film and theater, mostly film, because I went through all that training at State, and I've written a ton of screenplays, and I have a ton of ideas for screenplays, and I've been told that I'm a great writer, and I'm like, okay, so I should still keep pursuing that, because I feel like there's a lot I can say through that too.
Yeah.
It's just harder because there's so many things that go into making a movie that it's like, yeah, I can't do that alone.
Yeah, no, that is one where it takes a lot more and takes a lot of other people, whereas music you can definitely do solo and you can figure it out, but unless you're just gonna be the only cameraman and also only actor in it, like that's where it becomes you need other people. I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also like, I'm actively working on a couple film projects right now, but it's gonna have to wait till I finish my degree, which is like just under 2 years, and then I'll be actively ready to be like, hey, let's get the rest of the projects we held off, let's get those done.
Yeah.
Just because music is so easy right now, and it's kind of a way I can while I'm in school trying to advance my knowledge in the industry, I can also kind of still be working in it and still be actively trying to get myself out there so that when I'm out of school, it's like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And like I can hit the road running and I don't have to just like wait for things to come to me. It's like they're already starting.
Yeah, you have to make these connections and make it work and get the ball rolling yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why I think it's important to do that. And that's kind of why I thought about doing music for that, because it was just the easiest way to do things and get my name out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned for this release?
So I'm doing an album release party on November 2nd.
Nice.
At Asylum for the Arts. I don't know when the tickets are going up for that. It's still pretty far out, so yeah. I don't imagine it'll be like, it'll probably be like maybe like a couple months, or I don't even know. They said they were gonna let me know, but
yeah,
I bet it's probably gonna be like September when they do. But yeah, eventually tickets will go up for that, and then I can share that to social media, and people can come and hang out at the release party, which is like my first time really performing live. Because that was also something I wasn't sure I was going to do.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, people like it. And they're kind of, and if I want to go to certain festivals, if I want to do more award show stuff, then I kind of have to be able to have a stage presence that people can see. So I'm like, okay, I got to get started somewhere. So booking that venue was pretty cool. And they're pretty open to like, yeah, we'll have your party and see what we can do. So I would love to, you know, if people... anyone who wants to come is welcome. Like I'm not like, there's no exclusions. Everyone's welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So I wanted to chat with you a few things. Like, what do you think of the music scene and music venues here in Calgary?
The Calgary music scene is kind of cool. I've kind of enjoyed it a little bit. Everyone seems pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been really lucky that they've kind of taken me in, because a lot of the big artists in Calgary have kind of like we've talked, we follow each other on social media, they've kind of just been like a bit of support for me, because I'm like, what am I doing? And I've been very open in the music community too about like my mental health struggles and like all the things that I'm sort of about. Like I've gone to conferences and kind of just like spoke up about things and talked to people about stuff and been like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is the right move. Or also, I just have a lot going on that this is my only way I can feel like it's therapeutic for me to get it out. So yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of fun, and it's cool to be a part of it, because it's just a really interesting community of people, and there's so many different genres too. I find a lot of folk.
Yeah.
Country.
There's definitely, I think, more folk than people realize. But yeah, there's you can find, and unfortunately, you kind of need to make friends in the music industry. Yeah. Like through the podcast, I've met a lot of great musicians, so I know and I follow them all and I see it all. But if you're not in the scene, you need to find somebody, because then you can find out that there's like live music every single night of the week.
For real.
For different genres, like heavy metal, pop, country, like rock, like there's everything. But people just, they aren't aware of it.
Yeah, and there's so many festivals too.
Yeah,
like,
there's so many.
Throw so many festivals where it's like you can perform at so many things that you just have to kind of just find a way to start.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is I'm starting, and then that's why I'm having that release party, because it's going to be like my first big live show concert. And then once I kind of like show people that I can do a live show, then I think they'll be more eager to take me on for a festival or like or maybe like even like Pride or something, because I'd be down to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Pride and venues, we've just lost the Backlot. A Calgary institution.
Yeah.
There are like, you got Twisted still, and Texas Lounge, but then like there's not really any others. Like there's inclusive places, but there's not really big, like this is 100% supposed to be a queer space.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. We need more of it in Calgary.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I've been doing some volunteer work at the Center for Sexuality for like a year now, and I think I'll be doing it this year too. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure I'll stay on with them, but I've been actively trying to be in that community too, trying to advocate for like more inclusiveness because it's really tough. And especially like for me, someone living with a disability, I find it's harder to engage with people because I already have that barrier in front of me where it's like people don't want to talk about it or they don't want to engage because they're like, it's not what I know, it's not what I'm used to. And I think that's also a really big challenge in Calgary. I find it a lot because you try to open up about yourself and then they find out, oh, you're schizophrenic and you're autistic, and it's like, well, yeah, but what am I supposed to do? I can't change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you find it's a real struggle with people wanting to not talk about, like, I mean, I definitely know that there's a lot of, we don't talk about mental health, but we should. And like schizophrenia and then being autistic, like, why should we not talk about it? Like,
Yeah, for real. Like, it's a tough thing, I think, because there's a misconception that like, if you are that way, you can't do anything. But it's like, no, you can do a lot of things. And I know there's like a lot of people out there too, who for a long time, like me, like I was basically just a couch potato because I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to do anything because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because it was so overwhelming to be like, oh, all these like hallucinations, these visions, and all these things in my head, I can't get rid of them. And then you got like, because OCD is part of like the spectrum. That's why I say it's autism, because it kind of is.
yeah.
So like my OCD is really severe. So like I couldn't go out of the house without doing like 50 compulsions. And then it was like, I just sit there frozen like a stick and like not do anything for a while. So, but it just took the right kind of motivation for me. And it took a lot of like trying to get out of situations that I didn't feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
Because I also was in a really bad relationship for like the first part of my 20s, and it could have ruined me completely and could have entirely just made my life a complete mess because my mom wasn't ready to get rid of me, first of all. And was like, I moved out with this guy when I was like 20. She was like, are you sure? Like, after all we've been through and you're going to leave now? And I'm like, well, yeah, I should go. You know, I gotta try something. She's like, I thought you were going to stay till you're 45. And I was like, fair. Me too. But like, I was like, I don't know, I can't do this anymore. I need to get out and do something. But then he kind of took a toll on me and really didn't help that. But then when I kind of was able to escape from that, I realized that like I could do stuff. It was just a matter of I just need to find the right people to support, or I just need to figure out how to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And how to kind of like be self-sufficient in a way, because that's a big thing too, that a lot of people like me, they're not really self-sufficient. And I think that was what took a toll on me in my relationship, was because like I think I needed that, but he used it against me. So then it was like more of a thing that couldn't really get out of that, you know?
Yeah. So why is it important for you to, like, did you know you always wanted to be, like, at what point were you decided I'm going to be open about being schizophrenic and let people know? And as you're like releasing music, and doing stuff in film, television, why was it important for you, or what clicked for you to realize that like I can't hide that I'm schizophrenic and I should speak up it and let myself be open?
Yeah, I think the thing for me was because I thought about where I was and I didn't have anybody to look up to that sort of was in my position that could do all these things. And I was like, well, let me be that person for someone else, if they're younger, if they're older. Like, let me show them that you can do a lot of things. Like, people try to tell you can't because you're a certain type of way and you're not going to make it. But it's like, no, you can do whatever you want if you feel like it. And there's some people who are super comfortable living the life they have where they just don't want to leave the house. But, you know, and like, I'm not going to discourage anybody for the type of life they live, because like, if that's how you want to live, then that's your choice. And like, if that's what keeps you healthy and sane, then go for it. But a lot of times it doesn't, is what, from my experience, it doesn't make you feel better. It makes you feel worse.
when were you diagnosed with schizophrenia?
Think it was in 2019 or 2020. I don't remember. I think I was 21.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I was. Because from what I know, apparently schizophrenia develops later in life, which I didn't actually know that. I thought it was a thing that you always kind of had, but
Yeah.
a lot of people told me like it develops later, and that's, I guess, why it got so severe when I was in my 20s, because I guess now I'm an adult, now it's going to develop, and now it's here. Because I was diagnosed with OCD when I was 15, 16.
Wow.
So, like, I had it since I was, like, 6. But the problem is no one knew how to deal with it. They thought I was just wanting attention.
Yes. I had Allison, a psychologist, on a previous episode, and we talked about grief and mental health, and I had a panic attack as a kid, but as children, when we're doing this stuff, it just seems like we're just being bratty or we want attention,
Yeah.
but that is not the situation. No. And I think that's our biggest problem, is that we realize things too late in life. That it's like, oh no, they needed help.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Like, my mom did a lot of work for me, so I appreciate her for that, because she figured something was up, because there'd be so many times I'd get in trouble for having a compulsion, and then like I would do stupid things. I'd take too long in the shower, but she didn't know I was like doing a ritual in there and like trying to clear my head. Or there'd be like things where I would like, walk up the stairs backwards. And she's like, well, why did you do that? And it's like, well, I don't know. I just need to do that. And like, they just think you're being crazy and you're stupid or you need attention, but it's like, no. And then she realized a lot later that was what it was. So I was like, okay. And she really fought to get me help, and luckily we found like a really good psychologist who helped me out when I was still young, so that when I got older, that it would be a little bit easier for me. But yeah, it's weird how it's just something that people don't really know.
Yeah. We don't know, and we don't talk about enough. But if we talk about things,
No, literally,
it helps. Like,
yeah,
you're not the only, like, Calgary has what, 1 point something million people?
Yeah.
You're not the only person going through something.
exactly. And that's also why I think it's important for me to, if I've got a platform, if I've got a voice, I want to reach those people, because I'm like, I want to build a community within that as well.
Yeah.
Like, for like, also like big thing for me is like gay people with mental health issues is like my big platform, but I'm like, anybody's welcome.
Anybody's welcome.
Anybody's welcome.
Yeah.
But that's just like more so because that's me.
Yeah.
So like I relate more to that.
You can relate a little bit more. You have similar things. Yeah, I totally get that. Mental health in the queer community is such a big thing. Stuff we still struggle with. So I think it's awesome that you were vocal about this, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I hope anybody listening who might be going through things or might know somebody, hopefully this can inspire them or make them think about things.
Yeah, for real. And like I got lots of stories to share about certain things, and if people are interested, I'm totally down to express them more, like, and be like, and relate to their experiences, like especially schizophrenia, because we don't really know a lot about that illness.
No.
Not a lot of people get it, and I have it where it's not so much like, it's not always like auditory or like visual hallucinations. It also is an emotional illness that's kind of like bipolar. Like, you can just switch off like a light and you don't even know why. So, and that's a misconception, because people are like, oh, you're just seeing things and that's all it is. And I'm like, it's kind of more complicated than that. And it kind of spouts from, like, the reason why I have it is because of my OCD, and that's why it comes out. It's because like the OCD sort of manipulates you into thinking something, then you feel something, then you see something. It's like a whole layered thing, and that's a thing that I hope I can express eventually through my art. Like, I'm working on a couple movies right now that I'll obviously finish when I'm done school, but I'm working on a couple of them that don't particularly say that this is schizophrenia. They just show like what it feels like through either demonic possession, which I know religion is very touchy subject, so I'm going to make sure it's not like super offensive if someone believes in that stuff. Like, I'm going to it's just because sometimes we anticipate the devil as like something that ails us, you know?
Yeah.
So I have an idea for that. And then there's also like some other stuff about like going to rehab and all that stuff. Because I think people also misconcept that. They're like, oh, you took too many pills, I was at rehab. And I'm like, it's not really how that works. But
Yeah.
it's kind of how that works, but not really. Like you're just seeing, that's just what you've been told. And it's just what you're seeing. So you think that that's what everyone's experience is like, but it's really not.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we got some great things to look forward to in the future from you. A lot of fun things. As we start to wrap up here, first I want to say, I want you to, if you could describe Midnight Milkshake in one word, like the album, what one word would you use?
Fun.
Fun. Okay, good. See, and we need that. That'll be great. November too is going to be great because it's like winter and people are like, but we got some fun things we can listen to.
Fun. I mean, to be honest, my favorite track is the title track, Midnight Milkshake. I think is my favorite one. It's really stupid, but I was like, this is a bop. And a lot of it is just, it takes on like, there's some like depressing stuff, but it's also like, there's like only like 2 depressing songs. Like most of my stuff's usually depressing, but this one I was like, no, it's upbeat. We're having fun.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and as we start to wrap up here as well, I always like to ask people, what's awesome? Tell me something awesome.
I'm going to say ice cream.
Ice cream.
Relates to Midnight Milkshake. I love milkshakes, love ice cream. That's why my favorite part of summer too is ice cream, although I haven't been able to go to a beach and enjoy ice cream for a while, but
yeah, that's awesome. All right, if people want to know more, Midnight Milkshake comes out November 8th, album release November 2nd.
Yeah.
They will be released on Spotify.
Yeah, it's on Spotify. So Bradley Gamborski, that's my full name. That's where you can find me anywhere. Or at Brad ROX4 on Instagram is also. You can follow me on Instagram, and then I can share all the news with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to tag you on social media so that way people can easily find you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brad, so much for being here today for this open, honest conversation. I appreciate everything about what you said today, and I look forward to the album. I can't wait.
Thanks.
Only a couple months to go.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a big promotion this time. I was like,
that's the best way to do it. I think that's the best way. So, I look forward to it all. Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for passing time with me as always. Follow me on social media, Passing Time with Craig, PTW Craig, Facebook and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll chat soon. Bye.